Let's get ready to rumble.
Yes, we're back. Episode 150 of the Hibs Ramble. Yes, 150th episodes. And we're in our 150th year of the Hibs. And shock, we're going to be talking about a defeat today. The weather outside isn't great, but we will not let the mood dampen the episode. For those joining us on YouTube, you'll already see we have a lovely new Rambler with us this afternoon. But for those that are on your listening podcasts, is probably the best word to say it, your Spotify, your Apple, I want you to close your eyes for a second. See if you can think about who the guest is today, okay? I thought, do you know what I'll try and do? I'll go out and try and get the most famous Hibs fan kicking about. But I wasn't able to get Andy Murray or Josh Taylor. So I thought, I'll try and get a handsome Hibs fan instead. Couldn't get Dougery Scott. And then I thought, do you know what? I'll try and get someone that's maybe involved with music or radio, but I couldn't get the Proclaimers or Grant Stott or a comedian in Ian Sterling. So what I thought I would do is I'd get the next best thing. I'd get Mr. El Dorado himself, Rory Barraclough. How are you doing, my friend?
Not bad at all. I think that's probably the best intro I've ever had. I'll take it.
I've been thinking of that for days.
You thought earlier in the week, you think this is good. I'm going to do this.
Yeah, I didn't want it to drag on too long, but yes, thank you very much. I'm probably due you 4 pints and a Stories pie for coming on, haven't I?
That's the one, yeah. That's how I get paid in everything now. Actually, that's how El Dorado paid me as well.
How is everything, El Dorado-wise and life-wise? How are you doing?
Absolutely brilliant. I mean, Hibs usually dictate my life, but in terms of El Dorado, we're having a great time. If anyone's not seen the stuff that we do, it's all Scottish football videos, interviewing people and quizzing people, all about Scottish football. And as we get into this year, it's obviously it's really exciting because Scotland go to the World Cup, and what is as much as we hate it as Hibs fans, an interesting year in Scottish football. It's been great. You can't complain about it. And there's no group of people that I'd rather be interviewing than Scottish football fans, because the community's great. Everyone's really, really passionate about it, and there's no end to what you can make videos on. So
good. Yeah, it's a great year for Scottish football at the minute. Obviously, I'm hoping it's a little bit better for us Hibs fans come May, in regards to kind of how things are maybe sitting at the minute. But if you've not already saw any of the El Dorado related content, get involved. For those that do like their old tonic wine, there's lots of Scottish people out there that do. So get involved. Great content as well, for sure. And if you've not already, from a Hibs Ramble perspective, obviously get subscribing and following us or abusing us on whatever platform you want. Rory, we're going to have to unfortunately talk about the weekend, aren't we? I'm quite keen to get, you're viewing a lot of Hibs related things, but I, on our last episode, was championing at the bit and looking forward to a midfield three of McGrath, Chaiwa, Barlasser, having Rocky back in the centre of the park with Hanley and Iredale. I got those, but I certainly didn't get the result and the performance that I was looking for. What was your thoughts going into the Falkirk game and then the team selection that we ended up seeing?
I knew I was concerned because I think Mulligan's one of those players that when it's not just that he's a really top quality player, it's that he drives the team and he pushes other players, and you can see he's one of those players that the team is built around. When Hibs aren't playing well, or when any team's not playing well, you look to certain players in your team to try and push you forward. And I reckon Mulligan's one of those guys. I spoke to Aberdeen fans when we signed McGrath, and obviously the most ridiculous of them were saying, we didn't want him anyway, I don't care about him. But probably the most sensible of them were saying, no, he's a really good player, you'll have a great time, but he does tend to disappear a wee bit. And I don't think we've necessarily seen him disappear or anything like that, but I think he's not the guy to try and push other players forward and stuff, whereas I think Mulligan's got a bit like John McGinn about him in that, and that you kind of, he's a big anchor in the centre of the pitch, and we just missed him so much. I'm still not convinced, but I remember I said to a mate of mine when we signed Salinger and we signed Barlaser, I said, I'm not convinced by Salinger yet after the first couple of games, and I'm not convinced by Barlaser. I've been totally won over by Salinger. I think he's brilliant, excellent goalkeeper. But I'm still not sure about Barlaser. I think Nego is good, but he's still young and he's a bit naive. I think just about all of the goals went down his side,
Yeah.
and I don't know if that's his fault because he's a wing back. I watched the team and they looked tired. We didn't name a whole bench. We need to sign players, and I watched it and God, I hate going to that stadium, man. I've never had good results at that stadium.
Yeah. You touch on Mulligan there, and it is a great point, and all Hibs fans can obviously see the quality that he's got. And I don't know, like when I was watching the game at the weekend, you could see that David Gray was clearly wanting us to do like a very, very high aggressive press, but we were very quickly getting found out and caught in behind because the press wasn't working. Do you think that midfield three balance with not having Mulligan in it just isn't capable of doing that kind of press, or do you think there's maybe other players in that squad that we could have brought in to have applied that press a wee bit better?
I don't know because maybe what it's missing is bite because Barlazer's a really good passer of the ball. Everyone's seen that, and that's the thing. I don't think he's a bad player. Actually, we ended up settling this. I don't think Barlazer's a bad player. It's just maybe not necessarily what we need. We've got lots of good passes of the ball. We've got lots of players that can take a touch and look good. What we don't have, a little bit old school, but I think Hibs have always been good for when you've got a really attacking passing team. You need somebody to do the dirty work. You know what I mean? Back in 2016, that was Marvin Bartley, and he's probably one of the most underrated players in that team. He was he would break up play, he would pass it on. He's the reason we kept winning at Tynecastle. And I just don't think especially when Mulligan goes, there's no real bite in that team in the centre of the park. There's no real and it felt like they were able to just kind of thought. I mean, as much I've never said this about a John McGlynn team before. I thought they passed so well.
Yeah,
It was so simple for them. They never panicked when we did press them. It looked like that there was always 2 or 3 players ready for a pass, and the goals. It didn't seem like they were like. It didn't really seem like they were difficult for them. They kind of walked up and the passing was all very very simple. So I don't know. I don't know what we're missing overall, but I think there's certainly a bit of bite in that midfield. It just wasn't there.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. If we look at that first goal, that's exactly everything that you've just described is exactly what happened. They play the ball through McGrath and Barlassa like they're passengers. They're not even attempting or putting too much pressure on it. No real attempt to win the ball back. Hanley's covering the space in the middle of the park, and then obviously Megwa tries to stop the ball coming in. And most often than not, he probably does get a deflection. It probably does go out, but then the Falkirk players in the middle of the park, was it Barney Stewart, and then taps it in. Now, whether there's a debate here for it to be offside or not offside, I don't know if that's maybe worth having. The question is, at what point are we going to get more angles or more camera viewpoints to assist in making the right decision, I guess? Or what was your take on that first goal?
Yeah. I assume it's on because the angles are weird. But I mean, this is something that this is not just a Hibs fan thing. Anyone can admit this, right? Do you know what I never understood and I never got this right? Do you mind? And both of these went in our favour. End of last season, Celtic come to Easter Road and the ball looks like it might be out off the end of the pitch, but it's not. I still think it was. I think it was off. But there was confusion and there was a lot of debate over it. Maybe Celtic fans thought it was, whatever it was. It was something like 2 months later, or maybe a month later. The reason that we couldn't see whether the ball was out was that we didn't have a camera down the line. And I was like, this is insane. That's probably the number one thing you do is put a camera direct down the line so that you can see whether the ball's over the line for a goal, whether you can see it's out for a corner, all that kind of thing. Surely that's an obvious one to do. I thought, well, they'll learn from this one. Anyway, cut to the last game of the season and it's Rangers and it's again at Easter Road and again, is the ball over the line, is it not? And we still don't have a camera down the line, so they haven't learned and they're refusing to change this. And it's something like £1 million per team to get it installed, plus 100 grand or something per game. It's like an insane amount of money, and whatever it is, tens of thousands of pounds at the very least per game to run it, VAR, and it's not good enough. We've cheaped out. We've gone for if you're going to do it, you might as well get the decent one. We
went for the light option, haven't we?
Yeah, exactly. We've got we've decided we want a telly before everyone else, in the street, but we've decided to get the one that's entirely in black and white. It's frustrating, and I don't think Falkirk fans would say, okay, this benefited us this time, but Falkirk would have beaten us anyway. And if you're looking at it and you say, is VAR. Do we right now? Do we complain about decisions less than we did before it came in? I don't think we do. I think we complain about it more.
More. Yeah, I agree.
So
Completely agree.
what's the
Yeah.
point? I mean, but I will say, 3 centre backs we play, 3 centre backs, and not one of them at any point decided to be the guy. And not after the first goal or the second goal or the third goal was like, right, okay, somebody's going to have to be the one that actually picks up a player if he walks into our 6-yard box.
Yeah, that was a reoccurring theme for all the goals really. I've obviously touched over the high aggressive press. We went from pressing for the second goal. We went for pressing them. They're back two again with our front three, and yet 2 passes later they've made it out, and then it's a 3v2 in their favour rather than ours, and they're in behind. And then again it's another a cut back at this point, and we're marking space. And it's 2-0. We're going in at half time, 2-0 down, and it probably should have been more because they had another couple of chances. And we were probably lucky to go in at 2-0, I reckon. I was very concerned about what kind of side we were going to put out in the second half or what reaction we were going to get, purely because, like you said, we've not filled our bench. And in my opinion, that was probably the strongest side that we could have probably put out.
Yeah, they look knackered though as well. I felt that Bowie in particular has needed a couple of weeks rest for about 3 months.
Yeah.
And you just can't give it to him because we were going to sign Dykes, weren't we? And then Shaun gone. And we were going to sign all sorts of different players because we've got as many players as you like instead of the Boyle, Yuan role, Plegy, whatever you want to, if you're talking about a big man, small man, which David Gray seems to like, one big guy, one small guy, but we've only got one big guy. And he's knackered, and he's a lot of people are saying he's playing to try not to injure himself, which he might be. But eight players on the bench, including the under-21's captain, for a team that was supposed to be, flush with cash. This is what we were all told, absolutely minted at the start of the season. And then we spend it all on Clegy, and then he doesn't get played. And there are questions. There are a lot of questions. And now hearing, we're getting linked with a striker over in Ireland, and he looks good. But again, he does look like the smaller, fast type, which we already have. So I
think he's what 6'1" on Eldon.
That's
6'1", but yeah, you're right. He does look a bit pacey. At the current moment of recording, it is linked. It's looking like it could potentially get done for the Rangers game. That's what maybe sources are reporting. What, was it 400 grand, 600 grand, or something like that?
Hey, look, I may be wrong. I just saw it this morning, and I just, from what I could see, I was like, is he a kind of small, pacey guy? But he's
definitely got a bit of pace about him. He's got a really good goal catalogue from the one video that I've saw.
That's always a nightmare. Never trust the YouTube highlights.
I've stopped believing YouTube highlights after Chris Muller. So
we've got failed at that one,
So we'll come on to the lack of movement in transfers soon. Actually, to be fair, going back to the game, we managed to scrape a goal and get Kenny back into it 2-1. We were probably very lucky for it to be 2-1 at that point. But then, like you said, already a lot of the play was down Megwa's side, down the right-hand side. So for the third one, Chaiwa isn't tracking his runner. Kenny's got caught ball watching. Ball gets played in behind, and yet again, ball gets cut back, and it's probably the easiest hat-trick that he's ever going to score. They're probably all within the 6-yard box as well. It looked like he ran off the back of Iredale at the back post, so there's a lack of communication there. And then with the fourth one, Dylan Levitt does something very similar, where you'd think he's came on wanting to try and, I know we're getting beat at the time, but wanted to kind of try and force his way back into the side. He looked like he had a lack of conviction in his press and willingness to stop the cross/shot, and then obviously we end up 4-1 down. And it's funny how football can change very, very quickly, because before the Dunfermline game, we're probably looking at these runny games coming up and thinking we could, John last week said we'd finish third, which obviously he was joking about, and some people took it a little bit too serious. But before the Dunfermline game, we're sitting looking at the table and the fixtures and thinking, Motherwell are catchable. We could try and catch them and kind of take it from there. Whereas now, Falkirk are hot on our heels and we're maybe looking behind us again.
Yeah, it's so fast because if you look at we win a derby and then we win the game after that, it was Kelly we were at, and you're looking at those games and the way that Hibs fans were feeling it. It's, oh my god, we've got a chance to win the Scottish Cup here because so many teams are Celtic and Rangers are not what they used to be. We'll be looking at that, and we've got a tie against Dunfermline, which is it's winnable. We'd expect to win, I suppose. And you're looking at the run of fixtures that we've got and the way we're playing and the confidence in the team. Think this is great, and then 2 weeks down the line, and it's like half the fans want grey out. And it is football, but it's frustrating because he's not getting supported by the board. He's not getting supported by the people that he needs. It's been clear. It's been clear we've needed some fullbacks and a striker for a while now, and now a centre mid as well. So I don't understand what's going on there, but I'm not like immediate. Oh my god, it's all falling apart. But yeah, it does feel like, over the space of 2 weeks, suddenly so much has just been sucked out of the Hibs season. But
yeah, where do we go from here? Because we could. I mean, the odds are against us based on history, but we could beat Rangers at the weekend, and then everything was relatively rosy again. So, where do you think we as a club or as a support, probably more as a support, go from here? Because, like you said, I put a poll out about grey in or grey out, which I'm definitely not on the other side of that fence yet, and I don't think I'm near being on the other side of that fence. Although the behind me would probably suggest that I would remain on the right side of that fence. What do you think needs to happen to try and get a lot more of that support back in? Because the poll that we put out was very, very 50-50 for a long time that it was up.
Yeah, I mean, that was the evidence I was going by as your poll, really. A lot of people getting involved in that one. Well, our season now is both in our hands and not. There's two things. We need Europe, because if you did this out of the season, you'll get Europe again and nothing else. There'll be no cup run. There'll be no, you'll finish below Hearts. Everyone go, it's not a good season. It's not a bad season, but it's not a good season. So we need to get Europe again on our own side, and then we need to stop Hearts winning the league, which is not entirely just down to us. But let's be real, that'll be a massive. And this is one of these things that, I'll talk about it all the time. It's a Scottish, I love Scottish football. And all these people that say, Celtic fans will comment underneath Rangers posts about, you're obsessed with us. Rangers fans, you're obsessed with us. Hibs fans and Hearts fans, there's that thing online you see all the time. Why are you always thinking about Hearts? Why are you thinking about, or Hibs fans going, why are you always thinking about Hibs? That's how derbies work. That's how rivalries work. And Hearts winning the league would put a serious dampener on my season. I can tell you that much. So, we've got probably 2 derbies left. That'll be a big part of it. So if we can get Europe and Hearts can not win the league, then I'll once again be happy, and I'll say David Gray can go into the next season and it'll all be fine. But if we don't get those things, it's a bit of a problem.
I feel like I refer to hindsight on every episode, but I touched on it last week. Since we came back into the Premiership, or the SPFL, the top league, top flight, after 22 league games or 23 league games, this season is the highest up the league we've been, the most points and the most goals that we've scored. Even when we were close to finishing second/third/fourth with the whole Aberdeen Rangers, us, the 5-5 game like that season with the Scott Allen, with the famous midfield that we had for 6 months. Even that season, we weren't as high up in the league. We hadn't scored as much, and we didn't have as much points, because a lot of people forget it was after January that we went on that run and managed to go and get as much points. So since we've came back in the top flight, every season so far hasn't been as good statistically as this one for us, which is weird when you look at kind of where the support are maybe sitting. We've scored more goals, we've got more points, and we are higher up the table / equal up the table with maybe one season. So upon reflection, we're probably sitting in a good stage, but like you already referred to, the rivalry, these kind of things dictate how other people feel. If Hearts were sitting 8th or 9th, the support probably wouldn't be feeling the way that they're feeling.
Mhm.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the other thing about that is it shows how football is more important. You people that think that football is entirely stats, they're wrong. Because it's not just how many games you win. Because the thing that killed Jack Ross, for example, Jack Ross had a pretty decent, you know, win percentage. The thing that killed Jack Ross and the thing that might end up killing David Gray are big games. So as a fan, when you're paying lots of money, it's not just about, oh yeah, we're doing really well at the table, we're winning games. It's important that you win the big ones. You know, I would rather lose to you know, Killy and beat Hearts than lose to Hearts and beat Killy, obviously. You know what I mean? And if you look at David Gray last season, obviously we're winning the derbies, which is good. We're getting results against Celtic and Rangers. Rangers at Ibrox and doing well against, you know, those teams, doing really well. This season, one of the biggest problems is we won that derby, but other than that derby, what we do in the big games, we've not even laid a glove on Celtic and Rangers, not really come close. Yep. Rangers have had clean sheets. They've played us 3 times, including the League Cup game, and they've had a clean sheet every single time. And those big games, when you're an actual fan, they really affect like how you remember a season, you know, and whether you're enjoying going to those games. Because when it's a big atmosphere and it's a big game and it really matters, are the team turning up and making you, you know, feel like it was worth travelling up to Aberdeen or over at Ibrox or whatever it is. So he's got a big game, maybe a big game problem starting to creep in. And the same with the cup games as well, because, you know, Hibs fans for a long time, we weren't very good at Hampden, but we were very good at getting to Hampden. You know, I for a long time I couldn't remember a season where we hadn't got to Hampden, and then since 2020, there's been very few chances for us to go to Hampden, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah. We've spoke about David Gray or touched on him quite a bit, and we've probably both hinted at different things that are maybe letting him down, including himself. Do you think it is a mixture of his lack of experience, maybe he's tactically inept potentially at times, or do you think it's more the coaching staff maybe not wanting to rub him up the wrong way, or do you think it's a higher or a bigger problem than that, as well as maybe just the players at times?
I don't know. I mean, he managed to turn it around last season. I think there's a serious problem. I mean, my number one problem is the board, and not signing players. Not the board, but like whoever's meant to be in charge of signing players. I don't understand what's happened this transfer window. But with David Gray, there are a couple of things where I'm like, give it a change, man. I mean, the change in formation to what we have now was what won us all those games last season. But it's not. It was actually wasn't the formation itself. It's the fact that we changed it. So I think that what happens in modern football is that everyone studies each other so much, and you've got to keep changing it. Even if your formation is working, eventually you've just got to change it, just so that you're unpredictable. Because it was like Falkirk. It's like Game of the Weekend is probably the most clear example of that. Is that Falkirk had clearly watched us, worked out exactly where the weaknesses were, and they knew exactly what we were going to do and how to beat it. Yeah. We changed to a 3 at the front, which was exciting, and it felt like for about 5-10 minutes we actually had, you know, a decent spell, and then it fell apart again. But I think he just needs to change it, to start having the ability to have different. You know, we've got a half decent bench, and there's some good players on there, when the injuries aren't so bad, and I just think he needs to change it up a little bit. I don't know if he's tactically naive or any of these things. I just think he's got something that he thinks works, but now it's not working, so it needs to start. It needs to change. But I'm not saying I love David Gray for just purely sentimental reasons. But I think if you look, like you're saying, if you look at the past, you look at hindsight, you just say it's been good. He deserves the time, and also I've seen so many Hibs managers worse than this. If you actually ranked all the Hibs managers and how good they were and how many good memories you have of them, even if you're allowing things like Alan Stubbs' actual league form, we didn't actually get promoted, you know, but he won the Scottish Cup, so look, you can put him up there. And Neil Lennon was great when we, you know, coming up from the Championship, and we did well in the first season back. Okay, grand. He must be in a top 3-4 managers. I mean, Tony Mowbray might be up there from my time watching, but you know, there's
if you look at Tony Mowbray's area, he could barely win a derby. Do you know what I mean? But then he was able to give us different types of memories. So you're absolutely spot on. David Gray probably already is up there, and I don't know if that's a compliment to him or a detriment about how bad our managerial appointments have been in years.
I was at Ian Murray's testimonial and somebody was shouting at John Hughes and they were like, "Oh, come back, John," or whatever, as a laugh. And he just turned around. I remember he said, "Well, you were unhappy with fourth, and now look at you." And at that point, we were
Yeah.
like sitting eighth or something like that. And I always stuck with me because it was the kind of thing of like, yeah, if you're at a point at which you're not happy where you are, but you're still doing okay, do you really want to get rid of it? Because it could get worse. Do you know what I mean?
Well, at one point under John Hughes, I think it was before Stokes left, we were sitting second.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, you're absolutely right. We've touched on Eldon already, and we've hinted towards what on earth is potentially going on or not going on at Eastmains regarding the transfer window. What's your general take on the matter? Like we put a tweet out, and it was just a lot of Hearts fans telling us that we're skint. Were the majority of the replies, but then a lot of people were talking about the board, like you mentioned, or those that are in charge of it as well, or us maybe not knowing who to go for. But then there was a lot of other supporters who were talking and referring to the fact, well, we actually do have a good squad when everyone's there, and we're probably maybe just trying to get another one or two out to allow us to bring one or two in. And a few people were saying that they're happy that Hibs are not buying because the fans want to buy for the sake of buying. We're being smart. Where do you land on the inactivity at the minute?
I don't know if we had a budget to start the season, which we've spent, because we're not skint. We spent huge amounts of money to start the season. The thing is, I don't understand. I don't know how it works at Hibs. That's the only thing, is that it's so easy for us to like talk about what's going wrong when we don't know how it works. I don't know if you ever watched like Sunderland Till I Die. You ever watched that TV show?
Yeah.
And what the number one thing, I think I only actually watched the first season, but the thing that really stuck in my brain was the episode where they're right at the end of the season and Charlie Methvin, he was on the board there, and they needed a player. And I always thought in my head that the way football teams work is they had some sort of like rules and strategy, and there was like a team and a process you had to go through to sign a player and get it signed off and all this thing. And what this shows is at the worst organization of a club, they were just on the phone, just picking up the phone and phoning clubs and being like, "Is this guy free? Can we have him?" Because they knew they needed a striker, and it was like completely disorganized. And what I want to know is which side of that are we on? Because over at Hearts, they were ready. Tony Bloom and his lot, obviously one of the things that they've got going there is it's not just the analytics, it's the system for signing players. They were ready by the time January came along. And what I'm worried about is, did Hibs get to January the 1st and go, "So, should we get some players?" You know what I mean? Like, what happened there? And I don't know what our system is, so I don't know. But I just feel like, how did we get to January the 1st? And January's not as bad for signing players as it used to be. And we didn't have something done already. Do you know what I mean? It felt like most teams had. It's like, technically, I don't think you're supposed to do it, but let's be real. Everyone makes the deals before you get to January, and then it just happens in January. Why didn't we have that? I don't understand. That's what I don't get.
Yeah.
And I do think that if we get no one in, or if we get like a panic signing in, the rest of the season will be a washout.
Yeah, I think we can both agree we would rather it's the right sign-in of the right quality in the right area of the team, rather than here's 3 loans. Are you happy now?
Yeah. We've signed a backup goalkeeper.
Yay. Who you'll never see again.
Yeah.
Right. My favourite part. We'll move on to the quiz now.
Oh, right, okay.
The episode has been relatively doom and gloom thus far. A lot of negative things regarding Hibs, unfortunately. So let's try and cheer things up a little bit. However, my first 2 questions might contradict everything that I've just said. Okay. So it'll make sense. So today's quiz is all in relation to Rangers at Easter Road.
All right, okay.
It's all relatable to the weekend's game before we preview the fixture. There's 7 questions for you. And yeah, let's see how you get on.
Weird. I'm always on the other side of this. We're going to find out, knowledge is terrible. Just asking the questions is what I can do. Okay, let's find out. Let's go for it.
When I mentioned to Liam about prepping the quiz for you, he was like, well, he's always asking the questions, so you better be bloody good at answering them. So I guess we'll find out.
We'll better find out.
Right, so question number 1. The 17th of September 2006. That was the last time we beat Rangers at home in the top flight. Long time ago. Very, very long time ago. I had to triple check it. Yeah. September 2006 was the last time Hibs beat Rangers in the top flight in the league at Easter Road. We won 2-1 that day. What I want you to tell me is who secured the win by scoring a double for Hibs that day. So the 17th of September 2006, we beat Rangers 2-1 at Easter Road. There was a certain player that scored a double to get the 2-1 victory. What player scored the double?
I've got a player in mind, but the problem is I can't 100% remember it, because I should have been there, is what I'm trying to think. I'm going to say...
What's
is it Gary O'Connor?
What's you locking in Gary O'Connor?
Yeah, I'll lock it in, go on.
Right era, wrong player.
Ah!
Just Chris Killen.
Chris Killen. Do you know, I always remember his goal against Celtic. Good header. Probably a very underrated player, Chris Killen.
He came in, banged goals, and then just pied us off for Celtic very quickly.
And didn't do much at Celtic either.
Nah, he didn't. Nah, he always scored in the big games though for us.
New Zealand striker.
Yeah. Okay. I had to rack my memory for this one because I would have been 7 at the time of this game, so it might be a little bit on the cusp of you not knowing the answer to this. So I've actually changed the question to make it slightly easier. Okay, so I've just said 17th of September 2006 was the last time we beat Rangers at home in the top flight. The 14th of October 2000 was the last time we beat Rangers at home in the top flight and kept a clean sheet.
And kept
we won one. Yeah, we won 1-0 that day. David Zatelli scored the goal. However, what I want from you, Rory, is I want you to name the Hibs player that played for Rangers that day. So there was a player that played for Rangers that had played for Hibs previously. Who was that player?
So he'd already played for Hibs at that point. He wasn't then later going on to Hibs.
Yeah. In October 2000, he was playing for Rangers and he had previously played for Hibs. You'll kick yourself if you don't get it. I can guarantee you that.
Right, so it's got to be a Hibs player from the 90s. Yeah, they'll definitely be on my time. A Hibs player from the 90s.
That went on to play for Rangers and was playing for Rangers in the year 2000. So the 2000-2001 season. And if you want a clue, I could tell you, I think, I would need to double check, I'm pretty sure it was that summer that he had left Hibs and went to Rangers, because I'm fairly certain he was playing for Hibs in the 99-2000 season.
With the 99-2000 season... If it's 99-2000 was when we had the Millennium Derby. I'll tell you who it is. I'll tell you who it is. Is it Kenny Miller?
It certainly is.
Yes!
There you go.
Sorry, do you know what I did there? Do you know what I did there? I was trying to think about that era, and I was trying to think about, because it was like McLeish was Hibs manager around that time, and I was thinking about, so I've got it, I should really have worn it, but you know I've got the Millennium Derby Hibs top with the Lecoq Sportif down there. I've got that in yellow as well, and I was just trying to picture players in it. Was what I was doing. I was picturing. I was like, Soze obviously didn't do it, and then John Hughes and all these boys. And then one of the things that always sticks out, actually, I think he scored against Hearts in that top as well. So yeah, Kenny Miller. Yeah,
he scored the was it the third in that game? He definitely scored at Tynecastle. He scored into the school end. Right, we're bringing it a wee bit further forward now. 27th of December 2014. We romped to a 4-0 win in the dark bottle green strip with the green sleeves. Can you name the 4 goal scorers that day? So there's a wee clue. We won 4-0 and there was 4 different goal scorers.
Yeah, so I think I know the game you're talking about. Is it the David Gray one? The first goal? Yeah.
The absolute thunderbolt. Yep, so there's one.
David Gray at the top corner. God, who else scored that day? Trying to remember the goals. I've got this weird feeling that Scott Allen might have scored. Was that around the right time? So this is bottle green, but this is before we've won the Scottish Cup, isn't it? So this is
it's
the
the
one with
red
there's no
the
white
red
sleeve.
marathon bet, and there's no white sleeves. Yeah, and it was like the Black Sox first season in the championship.
First season of championship, back up.
Yeah, so we won 4-0. David Gray scored the first goal. You're right in that, and then there was 3 other goal scorers. Scott Allen was playing that day. I'll give you a clue. Scott Allen scored. Sorry, no, he didn't. Sorry, I'll give you that clue. He got 2 assists.
David Gray. I think there's some weird. I think there's some weird one where it's like Fraser 5 or something. But I mean, I'll say Jason Cummings. Did Jason Cummings score?
Yep.
Jason Cummings.
Yeah, he did. Yep. That was second. So you've got 2 more to get. I'll give you a clue. One of the other 2 goal scorers also assisted twice. So Scott Allen assisted twice, and someone else assisted twice. That someone else scored as well.
Oh, right, okay.
Both players were not in the Scottish Cup winning side. There's another clue. Both had left by that point.
Was one of them Malonga then?
Incorrect.
Incorrect. So both players had left Hibs by the time we get to the Scottish Cup, but they were playing. So neither of them were like obvious strikers or anything.
So this is the 14-15 season, because it was December 2014.
So we just got relegated.
Malonga was playing in that game, you're correct. But
it surprised me he didn't score, because he scored a lot for us around that time.
Yeah. Jason Cummings, you've already said, scored 1. I've already told you that Scott Allen didn't score, but he assisted 2. So you've got 2 other players to get. One of the other 2 assisted the other 2 goals.
This will kill me, man. This will be like a... All I'm coming up with is players that played in the Scottish Cup winning team. I can't think of who else would have played for us around that time.
Do you want another clue?
Yeah, go on.
One's on the coaching staff.
Oh, do you know what? I said something weird, and I was going to say Fraser 5e and Liam Craig were the 2 names that those 2 names came to mind early on. Maybe it's the ginger thing. Is it Liam Craig?
Yeah. Liam Craig is one of them, and then there's one more midfielder who scored that day. That's not Scott Allen and not Liam Craig.
Oh, it's clicking in my mind as well.
Do you give up, or are you almost there?
How is it a player that had played for us for a long time, or more than once or anything like that?
No.
All right. Is it Robertson?
Yeah, it is.
Right. So right. The weird thing about this, when the 4-0, I was I don't know why none of these goals are clicking in my mind, but one of them did, which is the Robertson one. They pass it through, and a left foot, it kind of almost bobbles it over.
Yep.
But was that the 4th goal?
That was Liam Craig's. Liam Craig was the 4th goal, but yeah,
the third and the 4th clicking there. That makes sense.
Yeah. Right. So you did have the Scottish Cup team on your mind. So the next question is relating to the Scottish Cup squad.
Yep.
Not the game. Question number 4. A month before that day in May, we beat them by the exact same scoreline at Easter Road. But what I want you to tell me is, can you name me the 2 players who started that day that did not get a minute in the cup final? So there was 2 players. So in April 2016, we beat Rangers at home 3-2. There's 2 players that started that day that didn't play a single minute in the cup final. Who were those 2 players?
Okay, right. The way I'm thinking about this is like, is one of them The Scandinavian boy that came on, played against Hearts. He had to.
Gunnarsson.
Gunnarsson, yeah, Nicholas
Yeah,
Gunnarsson.
he started that. He started that night and he scored as well.
So that's one of them.
So no, because he played in the cup final because he came on. Remember? If you need any clues or hints, I'm happy to provide.
No, I'm thinking the bench is interesting. So did
They were both on the bench for the cup
I'm
final.
thinking something, and it feels so stupid because I'm almost certain he wasn't in our team at that point.
What's your thought process?
There's nobody that plays for Hibs now that was in the Scottish Cup squad at that time, was there?
Apart from Martin Boyle, no.
That's what I was about to say. I was about to say Martin Boyle because I thought I'd have said I was thinking Martin Boyle there.
Nah.
All right, okay. So
good thought process, though.
yeah, that was what I was saying. I was thinking I thought Martin Boyle was in that squad at that time.
Yeah, it was on the bench that night, but Stokes and Cummins started the game. So I'm only talking about the starting 11. For the game.
So they had to have been in the starting 11, but then didn't play a single minute.
In the cup
right, okay. So here's my thoughts. So the first one has got to be Mark Oxley, right?
There you go. Correct.
So the first one is Mark Oxley because obviously Conrad Logan hadn't come in yet, and he'd lost. He had to lose his. What's it called?
Conrad was on the bench for that game because it was a month before. So Conrad had been in maybe about a month at that point, and we kept switching goalkeepers in the league, and Mark Oxley played that game.
That's right. Yeah, we needed to make the decision. Yeah, so Mark Oxley will be one of them.
Just if you think about the Scottish Cup final and think about who was on the bench but didn't get on, that might help you. And if you need another clue, I've got one that will probably give it away for you.
The bench was, it was Liam Henderson, Gunnarsson. There can't be. You could probably only have like what 5, 6 on the bench at that point.
I think it was 7. It was 7, I think.
Um,
And then the key question here is that they started the month before. So who's likely to start in a big game against Rangers at home, but then didn't feature in the Scottish Cup final?
Jason comes in, Anthony Stokes starting both, and you've got. Is it? No, it's not. It's the other way around. So the start is Fivey, McGinn.
Do you want a clue?
Yeah, go on.
First clue is you've mentioned them already on the podcast. Second clue will most certainly give it away.
I mentioned them already on a podcast.
Yeah, you've mentioned them already.
Oh, was it?
Far.
No, Malonga was gone by then.
He was, yeah.
So he'd gone like the summer before, so I wasn't in the squad.
Yeah, he left in like the January because he scored against Wraith, didn't he, in the first round?
That's right. Yes, I suppose he scored in the run. He did left in the Jan. I always think that's you'd be gutted, wouldn't you? If you left a club and then they won a big trophy. A bit. Is it Marvin Bartley?
That's correct. There we go. The
God,
final clue was going to be
long. But the reason I thought about that was I was thinking that players that didn't play in the cup final, but then I was trying to think about the bus parade and that famous picture of Marvin Bartley. I feel like I've got all these right, but I took way too long to get them. That's anything I've got right. It's been a slow process. I don't drink very much anymore, but I went out on Sunday night, and I'm too old now. I'm recovering. My brain's so slow.
Still struggling.
I'll still be struggling in 3 days' time. It's a nightmare.
Yeah, the last clue was going to be he has a famous selfie.
Oh, mate, that picture's great. That.
Yeah, I know. Right, we've got 2 questions to go, both even more recent, both to do with the last couple of fixtures at Easter Road against Rangers where we've actually got a result.
Mhm.
So, question number 6. 5th of January 2020. No, sorry, I've got three questions left. Yeah, 3 questions. 20th of August 2022,
Yep.
we grabbed an injury time equaliser against 9 men Rangers. Who scored the equaliser?
We had a 2022. We had a last minute. Campbell.
Yes, correct. Perfect. Question number 6. On the 5th of January 2025, Rocky scored a late equaliser to give us a 3-3 draw against Rangers at Easter Road. There was another player that scored a double for Hibs that day. Who was that player?
2025. 3-0. Oh, this is the one. Yeah, this is the one right at the end of last season that we were just talking about.
January 2025, 3-3, pouring rain. Rocky gets a late equaliser. Someone else has scored 2 that day. Who was it? And they're still in the squad now.
Yeah, well, we've not changed too many players since then. So this is almost not the start. This is on that big run.
It was the early stages of that. Yeah, that's correct.
I've totally forgotten. Is it Boyle?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep, that's right. Martin Boyle. And the last question. So at the moment, I actually think the only one you got wrong was the first one so far. Yeah, you're right. That is. Question number 7. During games at Easter Road, a lot of them obviously have been a feisty affair, especially since the rivalry in the Championship.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want you to tell me is the last player for Hibs to be sent off in this fixture.
Oh, I know it. I'm picturing it as well.
Mariah
Welsh? Nathan Mariah Welsh?
Yep. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
perfect.
I remember that at the time. I thought we could have had them at that time as well. I really thought we could have got more wins off them as well. But that Mariah Welsh, he kind of flies into that challenge, in fairness.
Yeah. Do you remember who else got sent off that day?
Well, for Rangers.
Nah, for Hibs. We got 2 men sent off within the space of about 5 minutes.
That's right, isn't it? Nathan Mariah Welsh and... because he's got to be of the 2. Oh, I don't know. Who else?
Second yellow. Pulls the player back. Stupid second yellow to get.
It's a few red cards he's had. That one at Dundee was killer as well.
Yeah.
I'm alright with that. It was a slow. You could see the cogs slowly turning in my brain for each question, but I got there in the end for each one.
I think if you were fresh and maybe not still struggling, I think
excuses.
You probably would have got there a bit
quicker. Bad excuses, but we got there.
All that matters is the score.
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is. See, you know what? It doesn't matter if it's a 93rd minute winner. We got
exactly. You get there in the end. Right. Couple of questions in regards to listener questions before we get into the Rangers preview, and then that's pretty much us, mate. Ramble tradition is first question of every episode. What are you having for dinner tonight?
So I have no idea, mate. Absolutely not. I'm not one of these people that does anything in advance. And also, this is going to sound like really old. It's going to be really traditional. The wife's cooking, but no. Since I got married, we got a new system for dealing with it. I clean everything. I do all the cleaning. I put all the washing on, but I don't cook. She's a much better cook than me. I was like, she makes some great dinners. So I was like, if you want to do that, that's how we'll split it. So I have no idea. I can text her and ask, but I have no idea. Sorry, but I could lie. I could lie and say it's a spag ball or something. What are you having for dinner?
I actually don't know what I'm having either.
Oh, so, how can we have this question?
John's going to be absolutely fizzing. He actually said no dinner for the Hibs team tonight. They don't deserve it, and we probably don't deserve it because we've not actually got an answer prepped for them either. So I'll play it safe and I'll be pasta or chicken or something like that, John.
Oh. If I was cooking, the only thing that I can really make well myself is a salmon. I like a wee bit of fish, but like a pan fried salmon. That's why when I'm trying to show off to Claudia and make her something, that tends to be why.
Well, I was that busy yesterday, man, and I ended up being eggs on toast.
Yeah,
So
a classic.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Perfect for dinner time, isn't it? A lot of the listener questions were probably more around a lot of the stuff that we've already touched on regarding David Gray, where we go from here. Does there need to be a new manager? And then there was a hell of a lot of Hearts fans jumping in, like you mentioned already. Um, a lot of the other questions that we've probably not asked is: do you think time is running out for David Gray?
I don't think it should, and I think he's got a bit of time, but I do think it is, in the sense that so he has to do two things, which is get a decent finish this season, which will allow him to get into next season, and then, and this is a bit of a concern, that he has to start next season well, otherwise he's going to end up with like the Lee Johnson problem, which is that you sack a manager with like 3 games in, just when the window's closed, and then you completely ruin the next season. I think. Again, I don't know what the relationship's like. I don't know what the board's like. It's hard to say. You never seem to know what's going on over there. But in terms of the fans, it's starting to turn. It's not turned, but it's starting to turn. So I think he's going to have to start picking up wins, and he's going to have to start picking up wins in big games. Rangers at the weekend's big. He will get away with a loss there because I think, well, for one thing, the history, we've not beaten them in a long time, and also various other things that are going on in the league at the time. But that would be a good start. Beat Rangers at the weekend. Start showing that the team has that fight, and then move on from there. You'll be fine. But yeah, I'd say it's starting to turn. Do you?
What?
You must feel the same way.
Yeah, no, I do. I don't think we're at a stage where sacking your manager at the end of a transfer window when they've not done any activity anyway, and whoever it is that you bring in, which you're not going to bring someone in with like 2 or 3 days left anyway, so they're not going to be able to do anything. So, I think he still has the backing of the players and and the support of the players, which I think is the most important thing. And I think that's probably because of what happened last season. Do you know what I mean? So he knows what he needs to do to get a tune out of them. But like you said, we changed the formation, then we went on that run last season. We're now being found out, and we're maybe too easy to read now. And he maybe just needs to freshen it up, and hopefully he will. What kind of team selection in regards to? So I thought the team at the weekend was as strong as we could have went, and I was relatively happy with that. And look how that turned out. What, in regards to the selection, do you think, or the shape needs to change moving into facing Rangers? Because they've won 8 in a row, they've not conceded in 5, and they've only had one league loss in 18.
I'd like to see. I mean, the problem is you can change this. You can go gung ho, and then you can end up losing like 5-0, and then everyone's raging. But why not just give them a go? Put 3 up top, or even I don't mind if we see more of Yuan. I mean, when we had to play him, like we were forced into playing him through injury, we were playing really well. So give him a shot up top. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Is it with all these injuries? There aren't that many changes that you can make personnel wise. Why not go with the 3 up top? Why not just have a 4-3-3? Have 3 sitting players, and then just allow the 3 up top to just have a go at them and run at them. That's probably
Boyle
what I
on
would
one
do.
side, Ewan on the other, and Bowie through the middle.
Exactly, yeah. That's probably how I would see it. I don't know. Where do you stand on free Cleegee? Release the Cleege.
I want him freed all the time, every time possible. He's a unique player from what I've seen so far. Like, he's very, very small, very, very quick, but he's got a hell of a leap on him.
The jump is crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, and I just don't think the players around him at the minute, apart from Yuan, know how to play with him. Whenever him and Yuan are on the pitch at the same time, they seem to have an understanding of what each other want.
Yeah.
But it just seems like whenever he plays with Bowie or whenever he plays with Boyle, I don't know if because Bowie and Boyle are so used to playing with each other, and obviously haven't had as much match exposure with Cleege, that they just don't understand how he's wanting things. But I've been quietly impressed with Cleege. I just don't think he's been given enough opportunity. Like, I would have thought the Dunfermline game would have been perfect opportunity if we'd played to his strengths, but unfortunately we didn't. He obviously had a chance that he should have finished as well. So I was going to say, we don't spend money on a player if he's not bad, but we spent a lot of money on Harry McCurdy and he was bad. So
And
I
Chris
would like
Muir,
to
I think we
think,
spent cash on as well. So
yeah, a lot of cash. He was a record signing, I think, or close to a record signing. So yeah, I'm in the free Cleegee camp. I'm assuming you're the same.
I'd like to see more of him because it does it not just feel mental to you that we're now in January and we can still genuinely say we've probably not seen enough of him to make a full decision. I think he's looked the movement's really good, the leap's really good at points, so it's one of those things where it's like if you give him one game every 5 or you give him 10 minutes at the end of the match, someone goes, oh, he was rubbish in that one or he wasn't good for those 10 minutes. And you go, well, you need to give everyone a run in the team. Why is it that other players get to have 4 bad games in a row because they need to keep playing.
Yeah.
But then other players, they're expected to just come in. There's this weird thing. I feel the same way with subs. I've never understood why subs have to happen in like the 75th minute. Because why does the guy that started the game get 75 minutes and he can only get 25 minutes to impress? You don't see very many halftime subs anymore. And it's the same thing. I don't know why we don't give the players that are out of favour a little bit more of a chance when things are going wrong. So I'd like to see him. He's the only thing you can maybe say about him is that he has probably only performed in games against smaller teams, but it's only really when he's been played.
Yeah, it's not his fault. That's the opportunity he's been given as well. Do you know what I mean? Do you think, for me, Rangers are they're not starting to click. They are clicking, and their recent record shows that. They've got when Danny Rowe came in, they were doing a lot of changing the side. But I think he's now found a fluid side. He's found a side that he's happy with. You've got Raskin, Asgard, Gassama, Moore all playing a lot of games together. You've got the new boy that's came in, Olsen, as well, and he's played well in the couple of games that he's played in. So my question is, their game against Porto is obviously on paper meaningless. Do you think we could potentially see a weakened Rangers side away, or I'm sure they are away to Porto, because of how important the league now is and how tight it is? Or do you think that could impact the Rangers squad in any way, shape, or form?
I think we'll see some changes between the two games, but it's not. It's close to meaningless, but it's not entirely meaningless because I think one thing Danny Rowe knows is that football's all about confidence and about that's what Neil Lennon was really good at, was like making players feel like people have talked about it. Neil Lennon used to make you feel like you were like a world beater, and that's how he made you win. And Danny Rowe's clearly got his team feeling as though that they're the best team in this country because they're playing with that confidence. So I don't think he'll go to. I don't think he want to go to Porto and just lose and not care about it. So I think he will put on a good squad. And the other thing is that technically, if they win that match and then finish top in the league, they'll get automatic group stage in the Champions League. But because it's coefficient, it's between them and I can't remember who it was. But if they don't win that match and they win the league, they won't get automatic Champions League, which sounds like a tiny thing to think about, but it might matter to him. So I think we'll see pretty much a full strength team against Porto, and I think it could help us. I've always thought you're best playing Celtic or Rangers straight after Europe, especially if they play well. So I think it could help us here. But I still think that getting anything out of a game against Rangers is going to be tough.
Yeah, I thought you were starting to sound really, really positive about the weekend's game, and then ended it not so positive.
I know. Even when I am positive, I have to try and dampen. It's a big Hibs thing, though, isn't it? You have to try and dampen it because even when when we were on that massive run every week, I'd have to be like, "Oh, it'll end this week. It's done. It's over." Because I can't allow myself to feel because the only times that Hibs have ever really killed me have been when I felt like positive and I felt like this is it. This is we're easily winning this one, and then it goes wrong. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I feel pretty much the same, and like you said, could losing maybe not be too bad a thing in the grand scheme of things. Who knows?
You can never want Hibs to lose, especially in a game against someone like Rangers. You never want that. But there is that thing of like, if we do lose, what I'll try and convince myself is at least
for the greater good. Yeah,
yeah. I'll get pelters for that, but yeah.
No, yeah. Neither of us will get anywhere near as many pelters as John did last week.
Yeah,
he's been absolutely loving it. Honestly, yeah. He said it, to be fair, before the episode, he's like, "I'm just going to just say things to bam people up," and John, you definitely done that. So very, very well done, son.
It's a good rage bait, man.
Yeah, aye. Listen, Rory, thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it. I did say that even after the weekend result, the episode would still be a laugh, and it certainly has been. So thank you very much for coming on.
Cheers, mate. I've really enjoyed it. Any excuse to talk about Hibs, so it's great.
Any last little plugs before we let you go, free you back to the world?
Any last thoughts? Here, I tell you what, this is my number one most important thing Hibs need to do. It's really, really important. And actually, I think I might start some sort of petition on it. Everyone else in the country seems to have a really good kebab pie. We're missing out on kebab pies, man. What's this about? Yeah, well, we didn't get one when we were there, but I've been at Dunfermline a couple of times this season. Great kebab pie. And if I could say anything, if I could change anything at Hibs, getting any new signings this season, it would be sign a kebab pie.
That's right up my street. That's the best pie you can get at any stadium.
It's incredible.
Not the Kelly pie, it's a kebab pie. Right, that sounds like a very, very good place to end. So, yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for everyone for watching, listening. If you made it this far, thanks so much. We'll let you go. Enjoy your week, and hopefully we all enjoy our weekend as well. See you later on.
Let's get ready to rumble.